Hello students. Till the last class we were discussing all the problems of electric charges and fields. You might be thinking that today I am going to start the new chapter since all the problems got finished. But when I went through different sources, different references, I found that there are few more questions which are left out. Not the questions, the type of questions which are left out. I want to discuss those questions in this class. And the questions will be displayed here. You pause the video and take down the question. Anyhow, I will be reading it while discussing about it. The first question, which is 26th for our discussion, is as follows. 2 point charges minus 10 microcoulomb and 20 microcoulomb are placed in air with 0.5 meter separation. Find the force between them if a medium of permittivity 8 is introduced between them. So now it's a very simple question. There are 2 point charges, one minus 10 microcoulomb, right, and the other 20 microcoulomb, which is not given. The kind of charge is not given. It's plus itself, since it's there is no minus sign. We can consider it as plus. So minus 10 microcoulomb plus 20 microcoulomb separated by 0.5 meter. And these two charges are kept inside a medium which has the permittivity, relative permittivity 8. Okay. Even if they didn't mention that the given factor is relative permittivity, it is understood. It is relative permittivity given. So solution for question number 26 is as follows. The two charges given, Q1 is equal to minus 10 microcoulomb. Q2 is 20 microcoulomb. And the distance of separation, I can take that as either D or R. You know that both of them are fine. So R is equal to 0.5 meter, and these two charges are kept inside a medium of relative permittivity 8. What is relative permittivity given by epsilon R, right, which is equal to 8. Remember, this is a unitless and dimensionless quantity. No need to worry about the unit of this, and the force between them is asked to find. Very simple problem. A single formula, F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon Q1 Q2 by R squared, right. In most of the problems we have considered this as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught directly, because back then while discussing those problems either the medium was not given or the medium was given as air or vacuum, right. That is why we kept epsilon as epsilon naught directly. But here the medium is not neither air nor vacuum. It's a new medium with the relative permittivity 8. So now this epsilon is epsilon naught into epsilon r. We know that, right? Let me put that value here. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into epsilon r into Q1 Q2 by R squared, right. Now we will simplify this. Look at this. This is nothing but 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into 1 by epsilon r, right. You agree? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into 1 by epsilon r. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is 9 into 10 to the power of 9. Epsilon r in the denominator, whose value is 8, into Q1 is given. It's only the magnitude which should be considered, 10 microcoulomb minus 6. Q2 is also given, 20 microcoulomb divided by R squared, which is 0.5 squared. Simplify this. So it is going to be 9. Let me take this 20 as 2 into 10. So it is going to be 9 left in the numerator into 2 from this divided by 8 into 0.5 squared is 0.25 into 10 to the power of 9 plus 1 10 minus 6 4 plus 1 because we have taken only 2. This 20 is written as 2 into 10 and 2 is retained. So, we have 10 left here. So, 9 plus 1 10, 10 minus 6 4, 4 plus 1 5, 5 minus 6 minus 1. Now, this 8 can be written as 4 into 2 into 0.25. Right? 8 is written as 4 into 2 and 9 into 2 in the numerator. 2 and 2 cancels. 4 into 0.25 is 1, should know that, into 10 to the power of minus 1 remains. So, what is left? This is 1, 9 itself is what is left now. So, 9 into 10 to the power of minus 1, which is 0.9 Newton. Okay. Make use of the calculator, calculate it carefully. So, this is the amount of force that act between these two charges. Now, if they ask you to find the nature of force, whether the force is attractive or repulsive, it is quite simple. The charges are of opposite sign, they always attract each other. Clear with this? So, this epsilon r, how to put that epsilon r into the formula is what new in this problem as of the previous problems are concerned. Next, question number 27. A charge q is placed at the center of the line joining two equal charges. Okay, a charge q is placed at the center of the line joining two equal charges capital Q. Show that the system of three charges will be in equilibrium, that is will be in equilibrium if small q is equal to minus capital Q by 4. Right. So, now we have a system of charge with three charges in it. So, this system contains three charges. One of the charge small q is placed between two charges. It is actually at the center of the line joining these two charges. These two charges are capital Q and capital Q, right. This is how the arrangement is according to the given problem. Now, what do we need to show? We need to show that the system of three charges, this system of three charges will be in equilibrium if small q is equal to minus q by 4. Look at this. If you want this single charge to be equilibrium, okay, before that, what is equilibrium? Equilibrium is a condition or the situation where none of the charges in the system experience any force, or I can say all the forces on all the charges of the system are cancelling with each other and there will be zero net force left on each of the charge. Okay? Or in other words, none of the charge in the system will experience acceleration. Okay? That would be the best way to put it. None of the charge in the system will experience acceleration. So, it is about making all the charges static, not to move or not to accelerate. Now, look at this. This charge kept at the center small q, irrespective of what amount of charge you keep, this charge will always be in equilibrium. Okay? This charge alone, the one in the center, this charge in the center will always be in equilibrium because these are two equal charges kept at equal distance. So, this charge q, let me call this point as A and this point as B and this as O. This charge at A is equal to that charge at B. So, yeah, even if it is attraction or repulsion, that doesn't matter. Let us assume this is a negative charge and these two are positive charges. And now, since this is positive, this is negative, this positive charge will attract this negative charge with certain force. The same phenomenon is done by the charge B. The charge B, same amount of charge Q, will attract Q towards that side. So, it's equal and opposite forces on Q. So, the net force on Q is always 0. Net force on this charge L is always 0 for this kind of arrangement. Irrespective of what amount of charge you put here, the net amount of force on the charge at the center is always 0. Okay. And now, what about these two charges? These two charges experience force on each other, right? So, positive, they repel each other. So, if you put some random charge at this point, positive or negative, whatever, this charge will be in equilibrium, but these two charges might not be in equilibrium. They start to repel each other, they start to experience the repulsion and tend to move away from each other, accelerate in the opposite directions, right? Like this, these two charges. Now, according to the given problem, the entire system of charge should be in equilibrium, means all the charges in the system should be in equilibrium. How is that possible? So, no need to worry about this charge. Whatever the amount of charge you put here, it's always be in equilibrium because it experiences equal and opposite force. Now, so since this is not something to worry about, whatever the charge you put, it's always in equilibrium. Let us shift our interest on this charge A. So, we want even this charge to be in equilibrium, right? Even this charge shouldn't experience any force, which means the net force on this charge should be 0. Now, how is that possible? When this charge experiences 0 force, which means that the sum of all the forces experienced by this charge is 0, right? Okay. Now, which are the two forces which acts on this charge? One of the force is due to the charge, due to the charge at the center. Okay. So, for now, we don't know what kind of what charge shall be kept here, and we even don't know whether it is positive or negative, but analytically we can think that this charge must be a negative charge, because think over it. See, this is certain positive charge, right? They have mentioned it. Let us assume it. This has positive. Okay. Now, this, because see, if you keep this as positive, this has to be positive, right? Now, this has to be in equilibrium. So, obviously, there will be force of repulsion in this direction due to this charge B, right? So, this is how FB acts, force of repulsion in this direction. So, how does FO should be? FO should be like this, so that they balance each other. So, if you want FO to be like this in this direction, then the charge kept at O must be a negative one. Is that clear? The charge kept at O must be a negative, then only FO will be in this direction, in this direction. FB will be opposite directions, and hence they can cancel with each other, and hence the net force on this positive charge becomes 0. Clear on that? So, we are concentrating on charge A. Okay? We are not at all worried about O and B now. O is always in equilibrium, and we want to know what is the condition for which charge A will be in equilibrium, and the same condition is applied for B. Let us look into that afterwards. Let us work for A now. So, from diagram, what is necessary is net force on A should be 0. Net force on A, what is that? I am still in vector form. Okay, net force on A is force due to force due to charge B, FB, plus vector FO. Following? So FB plus FO, I am still in vector form. Now coming to the magnitude of this, magnitude of force is equal to, they are opposite to each other, FB and FO. So when it reduces to the magnitude part, this becomes FB minus FO, right? Now what is the force acting? What should be the force acting on A? It is 0, right? So it's 0 Newton should be the force. So 0 is equal to FB minus FO. Let me shift FO here so that FO should be equal to FB, right? I could have considered the condition directly. That's also fine. Okay. So you can write a sentence: in order for the equilibrium condition of charge kept at point A, FB should be equal to FO. You can directly come to this point, that's also fine. Now this is where the actual part starts. What is the force between two charges? So FO is the force between charge A and O, okay, which is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2, right? What is Q1? Capital Q at A. Q2, what is Q2? Small q, by some distance of separation r squared, which is AO, this distance. Okay. Now look at this, if this AO is R, OB is also R and AB is 2R, right? Now this is what is LHS part. Now FB, what is FB? FB is the force on A due to B, which means this is the force acting between the charges A and B, right? So it's 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught capital Q, charge at A, Q1, Q2 is again capital Q itself, right? Because the same charge is kept at B, by, instead of R squared, be careful, the distance of separation between the charges A and B is not R, instead it is 2R now in this case. So this is 2R squared. Now 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, 1 by 4 pi epsilon vanished, capital Q, one of that vanished. Now you take it in the next step, I will directly edit it here itself. 2R whole squared is, what is that? 4R squared, right? Now R squared also got cancelled. What is left now? So Q is equal to Q by 4. So this is the magnitude of charge that should be kept at the center, right? This is the magnitude of the charge that should be kept at center. But what about the nature of charge, kind of charge or polarity of the charge? It should be negative, right? Because one force is repulsive, FB is repulsive, so FO has to be attractive, so Q has to be negative, okay? Since FO or you can write, since force between charges A and O should be attractive, Q must be negative. Therefore, you can keep the final answer, therefore Q is equal to minus Q by 4 for the charge A to be in equilibrium, right? Now charge A is in equilibrium. Charge O, charge kept at O is always in equilibrium, no need to worry. Not only this charge, you put any amount of charge, that's always in equilibrium. But now even A has become, A has attained equilibrium state, and the same thing is applied to B also, okay? Similarly, for the same condition, since you have kept it, it's decided now. Now B will experiences two forces, one FA like this, the other FO like this, No need to do the calculation once again similarly. It's understood. Okay. Similarly, for the same condition, okay, for the same condition, charge at B will also be in equilibrium. Okay, this is enough. No need to go through all the procedure once again. This is enough for proving that charge B will also be in equilibrium. So now O was already in equilibrium. A, we have derived the condition. B, similar condition to that of A. So all the charges are in equilibrium. So for what condition all three charges of the system are in equilibrium? For the condition of small q is equal to minus q by 4. Clear on this? So for this charge, all three charges are in equilibrium, and hence we say the system is in equilibrium. Okay? So yeah, we have shown this is the charge necessary for the equilibrium condition. So next we will continue the problem. Right, let us continue. Question number 27 is done. Question number 28. ABC is an equilateral triangle of side √2 meter. The point charges 5 nanocoulomb and minus 5 nanocoulomb are placed at the corners A and B. Calculate the resultant electric field intensity at corner C and find the direction. So the shape given now is an equilateral triangle. Okay. So let this be the equilateral triangle given. Okay. Let the points be A, B, C. This equilateral triangle is of side √2 meter. Charges of 5 nanocoulomb and minus 5 nanocoulomb are kept at A and B, right? So here you have 5 nanocoulomb kept, and here you have minus 5 nanocoulomb kept, and there is no charge at C. Okay. Then what else are we interested in? Calculate the resultant electric field intensity. Resultant electric field intensity is nothing but electric field value. Okay, E value. That's it. Nothing else. Calculate the resultant electric field intensity at corner C. At this point, electric field has to be found, and the direction of that electric field should also be found. Now at this point, we have two electric fields due to the charges at A and B, right? Due to the charge at A, the electric field at C will be something like this, right? Agree on this? Because it's a positive charge plus 5 nanocoulomb. So the field lines come out of it, away from the positive charge. So this is our EA. And what about EB? One more electric field is also there. What is that? How is that directed? It's like this because it's a negative charge, right? So this is what is our EB. Now, the resultant electric field, let me write this C here. The resultant electric field at C has to be found, right? That is what is asked to find. Now, the net electric field, question number 28, net electric field at C, okay, E is equal to EA, okay, electric field due to charge A plus electric field due to charge B. I am taking the vector addition form. Now, when it comes to magnitude of these two vector additions, so it is E is equal to under root of EA squared plus EB squared plus 2 EA, EB, cos theta, where theta is the angle between EA and EB, right? Now, before we substitute EA, EB and cos theta, we should know what are the values. Let us simplify them. Once you write the formula, E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R squared. So, EA becomes equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is 9 into 10 to the power of 9. Charge Q at A is 5 nanocoulomb, 5 into 10 to the power of minus 9. And the distance between C and A, point C and charge A is root 2. So, root 2 whole squared will be 2. Root 2 the squared, I have cancelled it directly, okay. These two will get cancelled. So, 9 5 is a 45, 45 by 2 is 22.5 Newton per coulomb, right. Now, observe the same value of EB, the value of EB will be same as of the value of EA, magnitude part, right, because the magnitude of charge is same, 5, 5. Magnitude of charge. Distance of separation is also same, root 2, root 2. Put that here. So, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught for 9 into 10 to the power of 9. Q by R squared, the same value 5 into 10 to the power of minus 9 divided by root 2 whole squared. So, after cancelling, EB is found to be same as of EA, right. So, which means that EA is equal to EB. And what about theta? Theta is the angle between EA and EB. So, here is what is theta, right. What is this angle equal to? The total angle is 180 for this line, and since this is an equilateral triangle, this angle, any angle is actually 60. So, this is also 60 degree. So, this angle is 120 degree, right. So, theta is 120 degree for this. Let us simplify for cos theta directly and then put that into this. What is cos 120? Okay. Cos 120. Cos 120 is cos of 90 plus 30. So, which will be minus sin 30, right. Cos of 90 plus theta minus sin theta is equal to minus half. So, cos 120 is also found. Let us put all those values into this. Before that, EA is equal to EB is the given condition, which makes this EA squared, all these values inside as EA squared. This is also EA squared. This is 2 times EA squared plus EA squared. EA into EA, which is 2 times EA squared, right. So, E becomes equal to, let me write it once. This is EA squared plus EA squared plus 2 EA squared into cos theta is minus half. So, what happens? Half cancelled, right. What is left? Minus sign is left. So, inside it, look at this. So, minus of EA squared. Here you have plus EA squared. These two, this minus EA squared plus EA squared will get cancelled. So, what is left inside the bracket or what square root is simply EA squared. So, root of EA squared is equal to EA. So, the magnitude of force, magnitude of electric field at this point C is actually same as of individual fields. Whatever the value of EA we have is equal to EB, and the resultant is also the same, EA, right. So, the net electric field EA is equal to E is equal to EA, which is equal to 22.5 Newton per coulomb. So, this is the magnitude of net electric field at point C. Now, what is the direction of electric field at this point? See, when it comes to the direction, whenever you have two equal vectors acting at a point, okay, for EA is equal to EB, okay, equal means not of the direction part, I am considering only the magnitude part. Whenever we have two vectors with equal magnitude acting at a point, then the direction of the resultant will be given using the simple law or the formula alpha is equal to theta by 2. You should refer to your first year notes, the second chapter, there you will find it a special case when P is equal to Q, alpha is equal to theta by 2, right. What is theta? Theta is 120, which makes alpha is equal to 60 degree. So how is that directed? So this is how E is directed. So the net electric field at point C is of same magnitude as of EA and EB and directed 60 degree away from EB or from EA. Both are fine. Okay. So this is also 60 degree, this is also 60 degree. So the final answer should be kept in sentence form like, therefore the resultant electric field at C is equal to 22.5 Newton per Coulomb and directed 60 degree away from EB. Okay. So this is how you should keep the complete answer. That is about question number 28. Now question number 29. ABC is an equilateral triangle again. Okay. We have an equilateral triangle A, B, C. Offside 1 meter, 1 meter, 1 meter, 1 meter. D is the midpoint of BC. Okay, here we have a point D which is the midpoint of BC. Charges 4 millicoulomb and 3 millicoulomb are placed at B, C and D respectively. So at points B we have 4 millicoulomb and at point C we also have the same charge 4 millicoulomb and at D we have 3 millicoulomb. Respectively find the resultant electric field intensity at A. So at point A, what is the resultant electric field intensity? This has to be found now. So here, how many electric fields are there at point A? There are 3 electric fields, right? One from point C, which I'll represent like this, EC, and the other from point D, which I'll represent as ED. Okay, this is point A. And one more electric field due to the charge at B, which will be like this. Right. Oh, let me rub this. So this is our, okay, EC, and this is our EB, and this is our ED. Now, what is this angle? This angle is 60 degree. So this will also be 60 degree, right? And you find that EB is equal to EC. You can easily get to know about it because the distance of separation are same and the charges are also same, right? So before going into that, let me write it in a general form. The net electric field at A is equal to vector sum of EB plus EC plus ED. Okay. Now, okay. So now this is the case where you have EB and EC with the angle of separation 60 degree. So the resultant of EB and EC will be actually through ED itself, right? So EB and EC will have the resultant along the same line as of the ED, like this at the center, because they are equal. So the resultant will be exactly at the middle. The resultant bisects the angle, which means this itself is the direction of EBC, resultant of EB and EC, right? So this is equal to EBC plus ED. ED is in the same line. Now EBC and ED, this is how EBC will be. the direction of EBC. Okay, where EBC is the resultant of EB and EC. Now, let me find EBC first. In order to find EBC, I should have EB and EC. Right, so what is EB? Let me work for EB. Once write the formula, E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R squared. So EB is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is 9 into 10 to the power of 9. Charge kept at B. Okay, I am finding EB. Both are fine, they are equal now anyhow. So you can find any one of it and keep the answer directly for the other. Into charge at B is 4 millicoulomb, 4 into 10 to the power of minus 3. R is 1 squared. Quite simple. So 4 9s are 36 into 10 to the power of 7 Newton per coulomb. This is what is EB, and this itself is our EC, the magnitude of EC, right? Magnitude of electric field due to the charge at C. Now you have EB and EC. Now let me work for EBC. So EBC is equal to root of EB squared plus EC squared plus 2 EA, EB EC cos theta, right? What is the angle between EB and EC? It's 60 degree. So theta is 60 degree. That makes cos theta is equal to half, plus half, right? Which is equal to, look at this, EB squared, they're equal, no? EB and EC are equal. So I'll take this as EB squared itself. EB squared plus EB squared plus 2 times EB squared into half. Okay, let me write a step. EB squared plus EB squared. I am writing this because EC is equal to EB. You can simplify this. You have to simplify and put the value of EC. Okay, EB squared plus EB squared plus 2 EB squared into half. They cancel. So EBC is equal to root 3 times EB. EB is this much, so root 3 into 36 into 10 to the power of minus 7 Newton per coulomb. So EBC is 36 root 3 into 10 to the power of minus 7 Newton per coulomb. That is what is EBC. Now EBC and ED are in same direction, so the magnitude of them simply add up. But before that, what is ED? Work for that. ED, right? ED is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, 9 into 10 to the power of 9. Charge at D is 3 millicoulomb divided by the distance from D to A. So this is 1, this is 1. What is this? This will be half, right? So it's 1. You can simplify it here, right? AD is equal to, using Pythagoras theorem, you can obtain the value of AD. AD is equal to under root of, look at this, AC squared minus CD squared, which is equal to, AC is 1 meter, right? Minus CD is half squared. So it's 1 minus half is 0.5 whole squared, which is 0.25, so which is root 0.75. Okay, make use of calculator and find it. So now here you have root 0.575 squared because it's r squared, which will be 9 into 3 is 27, 9 and minus 3 will be, just a minute, here it is 9 minus 3, which is 6, right? And this has become minus 7, sorry for that. So it's plus 6 Newton per coulomb. Now into 10 to the power of 6 by 0.75. 0.7 by 5 is 4 by 3. You simplify that, you will get ED. Okay, make use of calculator. You will get ED. No, it's actually 3 by 4. 3 ones are 0.75 is 3 by 4, right? So 3 ones are 3 nines are 36. It will be 36 into 10 to the power of 6 Newton per coulomb. Simplify it using the calculator. Now this is ED, this is EBC. Both ED and EBC are in same direction. So the net electric field E will simply add up. So net electric field E, magnitude of net electric field E will simply add up with the values of EBC and ED, which is 36 into 10 to the power of, first let me write EBC itself. Let me keep it in adder. So EBC is this 36 root 3 into 10 to the power of 6 plus ED is this 36 into 10 to the power of 6. Simplify, make use of the calculator. If not, you can keep this 36 of 1 plus root 3 into 10 to the power of 6 Newton per coulomb. Make use of calculator to get the value of root 3, add it with 1, multiply it with 36, keep the final answer. Clear on this? So this is how you should consider and work with multiple vectors, multiple electric fields given. Here you have 3. First you found the resultant of EB and EC, which actually came in a direction same as of ED. Then you simply add up ED and EBC, which will give you the net electric field at C, at A. Okay.